Thank you, and thank you very much for that answer. I appreciate it. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you. We did have an opportunity to meet earlier. We have had an opportunity to discuss issues that affect my district and the region, and I have found you to be a very responsive and a person who gets things done and brings people together. I would add that we do see year to year we do see that we're doing our part in terms of attacking healthcare costs, and we've seen reductions in efficiencies in healthcare, which don't correspond to increasing double-digit increases in insurance costs, so we'll leave that aside. But, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to point out that I think if there's anyone that we have who we can count on going into this crisis and dealing with these issues, the ability of people, and especially Ms. Volo, to bring people together, to get things done, and to hopefully find consensus in moving forward. At least I have hope in that. So thank you for the opportunity to ask some questions.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Martin. Then next, I'd like to turn it over to our ranking member, Senator Breslin.
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you
Senator.
very much. And Ms. Bullough, I know I'll add on to Senator Martin's comments that I believe your background and resume renders you extremely qualified to enter into this position. And meeting with you and discussing issues, your openness, your candidness, and frankness was extremely refreshing relative to DFS in the past. And we talked, and I'll add on to my dear friend, the chairman's comments on the interstate compact, that you do take a serious look at it, because I believe, as the chairman does, that it has sufficient opt-out situations where the positives of electronic filing, access to market, speed to market are overwhelming, and I believe in the end it puts New York at a competitive disadvantage without it. And hopefully the next time a mistake will be made and we'll say 45 and it'll be a 46 state and it'll be New York. That's more of a statement, not a question. On prior approval, which has permeated some of the discussion, I happen to have been the sponsor of the prior approval bill, so I'm not going to defend it here. I'll allow you to defend it. I believe in it. I believe it was necessary, and as you know, before 2009, I think it was the words of art were, just submit a statement and it'll be approved, and not prior approval, which reviews the requests in detail and to see if they're actuarially sound. And I would add on to Jim's comments about actuarially sound. I think the greater transparency by the department fits into the equation that there can be no allegations of political intervention given an election year or anything else, that we base it solely on an HMO's ability to prove its case to a rate increase, or in some cases a rate decrease.
Sure. So I have prior approval. The legislature authorized DFS to have prior approval. What I will say on that is, from the regulator's perspective, I think that serves New Yorkers well. It gives the regulator a broad picture of the entire market, as opposed to just sort of the individual insurer. We see the whole market, and it allows us to look at these things very holistically, and to hopefully come to a conclusion, at least that is certainly my objective, that is addressing the market holistically, while obviously individual insurers have different pieces of the business and different financial conditions. But I think it gives us that. The other thing that I will say, and having been in the private sector and understanding the objectives of for-profit corporations, is different than the regulator's objective. That doesn't mean that we won't necessarily agree, but the objectives are different. And I would say similar to the objectives of a for-profit insurance company in any business is very different than a mutual because of who they are serving in their sort of, whatever is left after expenses. And so that, I think, so it's a good thing to have, and that's the whole essence of regulation, is to have someone else looking at this holistically and trying to make the best decision that satisfies the great interest of industry and industry innovation and growth, as well as protecting the public overall.
Thank you. And I look forward to a trust relationship and interaction, and
So do I.
so far, so good. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Breslin. Senator Golden is next.
Thank you for being here today, and looking forward to your being the leader of DFS, the person that shall be in charge and running the greatest state in the nation as it comes to financial services. And of course, you coming from Brooklyn, you wear Brooklyn proud very well. PS 204 has done you well.
I went to 204.
Your parents have done you proud, and your children are looking at you proudly as you sit there and answer these questions, which sometimes can be grueling.
I think they would say boring.
I will say you're doing an outstanding job, and thank you for being here today. I only have two quick questions, and it's the long-term care policies. That's before your time in DFS. We allowed actuaries to come in with a determination. Those actuaries were wrong, and because those actuaries were wrong, the insurance companies have backed away from their plans, and people now have two choices: either to pay more money for their plan or to change their plan. I think that's wrong. There's over 100,000 policies that have been written in this state, and those people are suffering this very, very day. Increases astronomical, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per month to a 75-year-old woman that's on Social Security. And the drain here is when she has to drop that policy, she's going to have to go into one of our nursing homes, and we're going to pay for it anyway at the end of the day. This is what's very, very sad. How do we prevent that in the future, and what do we do for those that are suffering this very day on those policies?
I agree, Senator, that the long-term care industry is suffering, and this is, again, not to detract at all from the New Yorkers who are. It's also a nationwide problem because of, as I understand it, differences in what was estimated to be the cost of care, the length of care, the lapse rates. There were assumptions that people would lapse from the policies, and that didn't happen, and so nationwide. And the choice that you identified that was provided to consumers, obviously not a perfect choice, but better than just having a rate increase of yes and no. And DFS actually required that choice and worked on that type of a landing spot with the insurers. Again, the issue is, if an insurance company is coming to you, and yes, they wrote these policies, but fiscally they have a serious financial condition concern, then the decision is, if they were to go under, then it hits, well, if it's a health insurance company writing long-term care, there's no guarantee fund for the individuals. If it's a life insurance company writing the long-term care, they'll hit a guarantee fund, but the rest of the industry then pays for that guarantee fund. So the choice is there, not a great one, but the balance is between determining, is it, I hate to say it this way, better for the insurance company to become insolvent, or you have to increase rates. What I don't want to see is increased rates, and then ultimately they go under and people keep paying and then they don't get the product, right? So we are looking at this too. I am very sympathetic to this issue, and trying to make sure that, again, they have the landing spot so that they keep it. We have some circumstances in New York where actually our long-term care insurers are stronger than some of the ones nationwide. And I would say that as a testament to the insurance department's oversight over the years. Doesn't mean that we don't still have problems, but we have some in New York that are actually in better shape than their parent companies nationwide, because I think New York has done a pretty good job in the face of a very, very difficult circumstance.
I also thank you for that answer. I also have people that took out the long-term care policies, the same company that bought life insurance. They're concerned now that the same thing's going to happen to their life insurance. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but that is a concern, a valid concern.
Well, then that gets to the question of does the financial condition of the individual products get considered, or globally as an insurance company that is writing multiple products, and there may be profit on one side and not as much on the other, but we can only respond to what the insurers come to us with. They may make decisions to not continue in certain markets. They obviously have to still keep the contracts that they entered into, but some insurers are not writing new policies. And again, I'd like to continue writing policies in all areas, provided that those are good policies and are going to actually be met at the end of the day, particularly on products like this, which is a long tail. It's a long time of paying premiums before you actually access the insurance that you've paid for. So I would like to expand it, but at the same time recognize the real challenges on the fiscal side for this market. So I hope that.
The unfortunate part is the state of New York will eventually pay these long-term care because the people that bought these policies will have no way of being able to go into a nursing home, and not rely on their families to take care of them. So it, as a fair decision that DFS thinks they made, they've really impacted these families and these people and lost their trust, and we're talking about 100,000 policies. It's a sizable amount of people.
I understand.
Moving on to the next question. And I understand the governor's announced putting money out there. The Sandy, it's 4 years later, and just one community, and you'll know it, is Garrison Beach. I have 800 families that are still out of their homes. Manhattan Beach, she said that's just Brooklyn. That's not including Staten Island and Queens, another 1,000 families. It's getting these people back into their homes. Long Island suffering the same issues, Westchester. We need to be able to, obviously, and your office has been very responsive in the past, and I would hope that they will be as responsive in getting the monies out that the governor has announced. And I know I'm going to be having a town hall very shortly in my community, and would look to see that your people will be at that. I don't expect you to come back to Brooklyn, but hopefully you do.
I would love to. My brother still lives there in the house that I grew up in.
Thank you. And hopefully we'll have that money. Is there any idea when that money's going out that the governor announced?
I don't know, Senator, but I'm happy to
If you can get
find out and get back to you on that, absolutely.
Especially how it's going to be proportioned.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Golden. We have three more, Senator Sanders, Senator Hannan, and Senator Lattimore. First, Senator Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let's continue with Sandy. It's a good place to start. I too am interested in to know when this money is going to come about, but let me give you one of the strange things that we saw in terms of insurance in Sandy. When the disaster overtook us, many insurance companies did not do everything in the order that they should have, and I'm being kind. It was so bad that a do-over had to be done, that the federal government said that they wanted the insurance companies to look at these policies anew. This is going to happen again. The scientists tell us that we're going to be in situations like this again. what policies are we putting in place to make sure that the insurance companies will not renege on their responsibilities?
So on the, on Sandy and Irene, I think what DFS did well, and I saw this from the outside, and obviously have worked with the people who did this, and we will do this again, is to utilize our resources to help consumers to understand and to get, their due. And a main problem with the flood insurance issue or the hurricane issue is that it's FEMA and the federal government that really picks that up. And the federal government has rewritten the map for what is a flood zone, which has caused much reduced coverage by insurance. Again, this is not. It's not a good answer, but it's it's the best answer I have. Is we actually we put out a consumer alert on our website to explain to consumers what their homeowners policies may cover, which is very little on flood, and what else they might have to do, getting insurers to write flood insurance. But I will tell you, Senator, that if we unfortunately, God forbid, have something else like that again, and consumers are not getting what they paid for and are entitled to, we will be very tough and make sure that they get what they're entitled to. Again, and we did work, DFS did work with the federal government in Sandy to try to do that, but unfortunately, there's federal preemption laws that impact us in some of these areas.
Beachfront communities, by and large, are excluded from...
They can't get coverage.
We can't get flood insurance coverage. We would have a insurer of the last resort, of course, the federal government. Is there anything that can be done to encourage the insurance companies to provide flood insurance in these communities, and therefore making it more competitive?
I think we can try to encourage it. My expectation would be that the rates would be so high that it would be difficult for the communities to actually take the coverage, or the deductibles would be so high. But there are some policies out there, again, with the sort of catastrophic weather events, we do in large part rely on FEMA, but where there is an insurance issue, I will certainly work to make sure that your constituents, everyone's constituents in that unlikely event gets what they're entitled to, and to educate them on some of these. Someone mentioned, I think Senator Seward, the website and what's on there. Our website is going through an overhaul. We're going to have a new contractor, and I want to make it much more consumer friendly, more transparent, and to use it where you can actually figure out, okay, and then we have on our front page, again, it will be changed. We have on our front page, for example, a Health Republic thing. So if you want to know what's going on in the Health Republic liquidation, we're going to put it there. And so I'm going to try, and I want to go across the state and educate and reach out to different communities and have people at DFS who are actually terrific at doing this in our Consumer Bureau. I want them to go around the state and help consumers and educate consumers. We have a large mobile unit that we can use for that we used for Sandy, that we used even in Hoosick Falls. And we'll continue to use that if we can help, even where our limited role may be in certain circumstances, to at least educate and help consumers to find their way through some of these unfortunate events.
My last point, Mr. Chair, briefly. The Army Corps of Engineers, as you have alluded to, is producing a map that is going to change the insurance rates the flood zones and therefore the insurance rates. That map right now is going to be catastrophic to many of these communities. Have you at least weighed it, would you, I take that back, would you at least weigh in on that? And some of us are requesting that the federal government provide subsidies to some of these communities that have been overnight, their rate may be tripled, and they're ill-equipped to afford it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I will look at that, and we'll get back to your office on whether we could weigh in on that. I mean, I think the federal government will do what they do in the Army Corps of Engineers, and there may be very limited that we can do other than maybe just voice a concern. But I'd be happy to look into that and get back to your office on that.
Thank you kindly.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Hannan.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
I think it's still morning.
That clock is an hour behind, I think, but I think so.
Welcome to this Capitol. I want to go back to the Health Republic, because that's really the elephant in the room. Obviously, you weren't there. We've had this discussion when you visited. But when Senator Seward and I had the roundtable here, we were seeking what had happened, how it had happened, what the view of regulators and providers were. And it became pretty obvious, and retrospect, and hindsight always gives you great wisdom, but it became pretty obvious that there were warning signs all along the way. And that we should have known, we could have known, it wasn't just the June or the July outside auditors, there were other things, such as extraordinary benefits being offered for the lowest rates, getting a greater proportion of people than they would have expected. And so I didn't want to get into finger pointing, but I really thought that there would be changes made so we wouldn't see the same type of warning signs again without some type of action by the department. And I just wanted to know, and I know that you've displayed a good familiarity, a good expertise, good trial lawyer, but what changes are being made so we don't see this again?
So I have, been very strong with the staff on the systems that we must have in place, looking at particularly any new, because part of this is a new startup company, and any new company, and we have some proposals before us now, in terms of what their capital requirements and otherwise should be, and that they will be on monthly reporting and monthly ongoing review by DFS. In terms of the companies that already exist, if there is any company that is even close to potential insolvency situation, that must be brought up to my executive deputy superintendent, who I recently hired. He's terrific, and then brought to my attention. One metric is the risk-based capital. So, if it's under 300%, has to be brought to somebody's attention. I mean, that's a metric. And we are looking at all of this going forward. We are actually, on top of a number of, companies that are, struggling. Struggling doesn't mean, and we've worked with a number of them, to great success. There are companies that do have to be put in liquidation. I will tell you that in this state, it has been a long time before Health Republic that any health insurer was put into liquidation. And the one that was, because I asked for this, was a long time ago, and it was a very small company. So I don't want to see another one, I can tell you that. But I do think, and I think looking forward is much better than looking past, although there are lessons to be learned from the past. Health Republic, the way it was set up, the uniqueness of this new federal entity that was a nonprofit that could not get private capital. I don't have another one of them. That doesn't mean that you're complacent,
Let
Right,
me
but
let me
it is
go
very
around.
different.
Let me go around, because I was there for that long time ago one. Lower Hudson Valley, providers stiffed, people who needed care stiffed. And was also the era where the Blues were in great trouble. They were not-for-profit, and they became for-profit. But it was also the era where there was prior approval, which was repealed because the capacity of the insurance industry to give coverage to the state, people of the state of New York, was diminishing. So we've been through this all along. And when we had prior approval proposed by the administration in 2011, and the legislature went along, I had doubts because you were constraining capacity. And I thought that we had, with the medical loss ratios, the ability to cap profits, and money, any excess money goes back to the policyholders. So I thought that was a good balance. And one of the things that came out of the roundtable was that the actuaries of all the health insurance companies are required to certify what their numbers are, the actuaries. But then we had testimony that said, when the decisions were made about the rates by DFS, short notice, 10 hours, no certification by the DFS actuaries as to what they did, no explanation as to why they made the decisions. So, and this is all not your watch, so this is a system that I think needs to be changed. I would do it, and we've had this discussion about I'd repeal the prior approval, but if that's not going to happen, you still have to change the system. And
So as I said before, the legislature granted prior approval. I explained what I think are the benefits of it from the regulator's point of view, and the differences in the considerations that a company may make and a regulator may make. And two different actuaries can follow sound actuarial assumptions and methods and have different ranges of the outcome. And so, but again, the considerations of the regulator in looking at the broad market and also the piece of the consumer is really that balance, what I will do in the law that I've been authorized to do and in the strictures that that law provides in terms of the considerations that I'm permitted to make.
as long as you know what I'm clearly doing, watching. I just want to switch totally one topic. And Senator Stewart and Senator Breslin brought this up, and that's the interstate compact. And I actually have, because I've left this alone a long time ago. I represented state legislators on the committee with the attorney generals, with all your fellow commissioners in the nation, and wrote the compact. And it was nothing at the time. It was a fascinating balance. We checked totally with the New York State Superintendent of Insurance then, totally with the Attorney General of New York State, discussions to make sure their powers were preserved, and then totally disappointed by then Insurance Department not supporting it. And I really, really think the time has come. 45 is a large number of other states that have adopted it. It's a system that works. It's a system that allows people to file with the compact agency, run by the commissioners, by the way, of all of the states, and get approved. Once approved, that policy is then effective in all of the participating states. I think the department should give up its money-raising thing because it charges the companies for its operations, and I think we should just make progress and prevent the feds from taking this over, because that's what they've done with health insurance. So I would just put that strong message in that it would be good to do. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to speak.
Good to have you part of the Insurance Committee today. Our final questioner is Senator Lattimer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and Madam Superintendent, happy to be with you again. I'll limit it to one question in a very narrow area that hasn't come up yet. There was a discussion a year ago about proposed insurance regulation 208 that affected the land title industry.
Yes.
The chairman and the ranker authored a letter to your predecessor, Mr. Albanese, looking for some consideration and changes. My understanding is those regs did not go into place, but we don't have anything yet to replace them. Can you describe the current status? Because I know those in the land title industry are very interested to know what your thinking is on this.
Absolutely, Senator. So the Reg 208 is a regulation that had been proposed by the department, and the one-year comment period expired. And the reason it expired, quite frankly, is that I was new to it, and I needed a deep down dive into it, and the expiration of the period only means that it changes the sort of comment period again to go through it again. So it doesn't, in my view, it was worth it for me and my staff to really look at it. The regulation is intended to give more details to the anti-inducement provisions of the New York insurance law, which is very important, and to ensure that meals and entertainment or other things are not being provided as an inducement, an improper inducement for business. In an industry where the rate of access, the rate of claims on the insurance policy is very, very low, because it's very rare that one has to trigger the policy. And so when you look at that and you look at the individual homeowners who are coming to their closings on their homes and they have these extra costs, it's something that needs to be balanced. But again, I think whatever we do in regulation has to be clear, and it has to set out what exactly it is that we're telling people to do, because just restating the statutory standard doesn't really do that much. But so we are working on that. Can't tell you yet what exactly we'll be doing, but this and a few other regs that were in the works were just, I have to look at these, and I'll make the decision after people give me, and we have received the input from the industry in the comment period, just like in a lot of the other regs. So that's where it stands, and we'll probably have something in the reasonably near future. I don't want to give it because I want to make sure we go through our processes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Lyman. Just one final question that I had, and that has to do, I know, with fraud, insurance fraud in the state. And I tell you, it's been a long-standing Senate position is we would like to be more aggressive when it comes to fighting fraud, particularly in the no-fault area. Mm-hmm. We've had routinely pass a package of bills regarding that. And we very much would like to have a very aggressive partner at the department. We need a frauds bureau that's fully staffed and functioning at full capacity. And do you have any thoughts in terms of any plans for ensuring that the number of fraud and complaints that are submitted to the department, in terms of having the staff available to adequately handle those investigations, particularly in the no-fault area, which in the downstate region in particular, and all of us, no matter where we live, are paying more than we need to pay for our auto insurance because of these fraudulent claims. Any thoughts in terms of beefing up the fraud area, particularly with the number of investigators to pursue these cases?
Right. Yes, Senator, and we did have a conversation about this, and I am very familiar with there's a very large number of no-fault claims, and many of them, most of them, come from our insurers. And it's important that we're responsive to that, obviously, and also rooting out, these are, criminal activities. And as I had told you when we met about this, I have a large agency with a number of vacancies through, a long time process. I have a budget, and I will allocate, obviously, appropriately within that budget. I am very aware of the need for more investigators. We do have some really excellent investigators in this area. They are former NYPD. They are criminal investigators. We do not prosecute the cases. We don't have that authority. I'm not asking for it. I'm just saying we don't have that authority. It's all up to you. But we work very closely with, these are usually the local DAs who might also be strapped resource-wise. But I think what needs to be done, and after we met, I went back and talked to some, and we'll continue those conversations, is there a way with these cases that we have on an individual basis to harness some of the evidentiary facts so that we look at the trends that, well, it's the same, medical, it's not really a medical, but some service that's actually, writing out and claiming that there was some kind of medical treatment in order to get the claim? Are there patterns that you could see? And again, that's a law enforcement issue, but that might be one way that we could provide a better service because we have all of that data, and to try to see if we could find trends, again, for local law enforcement. But those trends might not be in the same jurisdiction, but we can look at it broadly. So we'll do that, and I'm not closing any of those offices, I can promise you that.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much. I just want to underscore what others have said. Ms. Vullo, we really appreciate throughout this process your openness. The lines of communication have been excellent, and the give and take here with the members of this committee has been excellent, and we look forward to that continuing as we move forward together on behalf of the insurance consumers and our constituents here in New York State, working toward a even more robust insurance market here with plenty of consumer choices, products, price points, whatever the case may be. But personally, I just want to say I appreciated your communicating, and we look forward to that ongoing.
So do I.
And
Thank you.
with that, I would ask, our function here today is to move this nomination to the Finance Committee. And is there a motion to do so? In a second. Thank you very much. And our clerk, Laura, you can report. We have plenty of voting sheets that have been submitted, so that motion carries, and your nomination of Maria Vullo has now been sent to the Finance Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Obi.
And I think your kids may want to look forward to going to school tomorrow.